What up, world? Welcome to another episode of the BrandonJaneauShow. As you know, I am the host, BrandonJaneau. Like always, on all podcast platforms everywhere. BrandonJaneauShow. Social media platforms: Instagram, Threads, BrandonJaneau, uh, Facebook, The BrandonJaneauShow, and magically, TikTok is back. So magically, TikTok is back. So you can follow me on there too. TikTok, BrandonJaneauShow. Um, but really, where you can just go is just simple. Very simple. Just type in, go to YouTube. I know everybody got a YouTube now. Go to YouTube and just hit subscribe to the Brandon Janeau Show. To Brandon Janeau Show on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, like. I do comment back. I do. It helps in the algorithms. I'm picking up attraction. Clearly, some people are now viewing the episodes and everything, and um, yeah, I got an announcement. Hopefully, I do all these episodes tonight. But I got an announcement. Probably do it at the end. I don't know. But yeah. But that's neither here nor there. It's Tuesday, so you already know what it is. It's I Bleed Sports. Oh man, football season is officially almost over. College ended last Monday. Yeah, and then this past week, we finally now know the Super Bowl. We know who's gonna be playing in the Super Bowl. I'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Um, but yeah, man. So let's get into it like this, man. So usually I start with other sports and then I go into football. Football is like the last thing I want to talk about, right? Football is the last thing I want to talk about. But instead, I'm gonna kick it off with football today. And I'm gonna kick it off with this. So, conference football, conference championship weekend was this past Sunday. You had the Eagles and the Commanders divisional game, divisional matchup, pretty much. The two divisional teams playing for the third time against each other in the season. Commanders took the one in Washington. Eagles took the one in Philly earlier this year, and then of course, so everybody was looking forward to seeing how this is gonna play out, and the Eagles took that. 55-23 was the finale of that game. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then of course there was the game that everybody was pretty much waiting to see how it was gonna play out, but more so we was kind of like, just please, God Almighty, please, just let the Buffalo Bills win one game, just one time, God Almighty, please. If you love this, if you really love this, you let the Bills win. Just let them win. I'm not saying they gotta win the Super Bowl, but just beat these niggas. Just beat them. I don't give a fuck if they win the Super Bowl. Just beat them. The Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs played for the fourth time in the playoffs for the second consecutive year in the playoffs. The second time in the AFC Championship game between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And Kansas City won 32-29 over the Buffalo Bills. And the Super Bowl will be the Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, like I said, I talk about the Kansas City. I talk about that in a minute, and I also talk about the Commanders and how I felt about Jaden Daniels' uh, NFC Championship performance, and particularly what I think of the Commanders moving forward. But I want to start with the Buffalo Bills. I get it. As fans, we see dominance like this of Kansas City, and we immediately just chalk it up to, okay, the NFL just wants them to win. Clearly, the NFL wants them to win. They want them to be dominant. They want them to be, this top tier team. I thought I had something. I'm sorry. They want them to be this dominant team. The NFL will have so much invested in this. I'm getting to the point now with Buffalo where I think it's finally time for us to actually have this conversation. And the conversation and I posted this right after the game was over, and I said, "Yo, are we finally ready to have this conversation about Josh Allen? Like, are we finally ready to have this conversation about Josh Allen?" And it's not just Josh Allen; it's Sean McDermott, and it's just the Buffalo Bills in general. I said this to my brother Juan in 2020. Yeah, that's when they played Cincinnati Bengals. 2021. I said this to my brother Juan in 2021. I said 2021, 2022, 2022. Yeah, because Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl in 2022. Okay, so I told wait, yeah, because San Francisco, Kansas City was the Super Bowl in 2020. Tampa Bay, Kansas City was the Super Bowl in 2021. 2022 was Cincinnati Rams. Okay, yeah, I'm right. And then the Kansas City Chiefs have won the last two Super Bowls. Okay, so yeah, so Cincinnati Rams 2022. I told my brother Juan this after I watched that game, Cincinnati and Buffalo, all the way back 3 years ago. 4 years ago now. Yeah, 4 years ago now. God Almighty, 4 years ago now. Good God Almighty. No, that was right. 3 years ago. 3 years ago. I'm tripping. God Almighty. I told my brother Juan, and I told him right then and there. I said, Buffalo Bills are the San Diego Chargers of the 2020s. They're San Diego Chargers. And Sunday did nothing to change my mind. All it did was prove me right and prove what I've been saying about this Buffalo Bills team. They are the San Diego Chargers. Now, if you know the San Diego Chargers in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, you know how great they really were. But Sean McDermott is starting to become Martin Schottenheimer. He's starting to become Nav Turner. You know, these great Charger head coaches that have the talent, have the quarterback, have the so called defense, and then they lose. They lose to that generation's Tom Brady. They lose to Tom Brady. They lose to Peyton Manning. They lose to Big Ben. They could be maybe two. They can't be all three. They can maybe be one. They can't beat all. They can't beat the other two. Buffalo's starting to fall into that place. They're starting to fall into that. They barely escaped Baltimore the week before, and they just couldn't fucking do it. They had the lead in the game. Now, the two controversial calls that everybody continuously sit here and talk about, the fucking the Xavier Worthy kind of the catch, but you know everybody's like, oh man, that ball hit the ground. Oh, this is just a pick. The defender never had his hand on the ball. Never had his hand on the ball. The ball touched the ground, but it was under Xavier Worthy's arm. It was under his arm, and his hand was under the ball. So I get the argument that they just cheated and gave him the first down. It's like when you actually look at the replay is very. Xavier Worthy caught the ball, man. I know commentators are like, man, that should have just been an incompletion, or it should have just been an interception. It should have just been, if anything, it should have just been an incompletion, but it wasn't. And if you actually look at it, Xavier Worthy actually did catch the ball, which is goddamn miraculous if you actually think about it, because that shit is damn near impossible. What's the other call? The first down that everybody's continuing screaming Josh Allen got. Josh Allen earlier in the game put the ball over the line, the first down marker. He did this. Threw the ball over the line, quick, fast, got the first down, and the refs knew it was the first. You tried to bully Kansas City into, the touch push. Colin Cowherd said something yesterday, which is and I totally agree, which is like Jalen Hurts is 5'10", which means he kind of sneak in. But he also bench presses like 600 pounds. So this isn't just some small ass dude that you're doing a touch push with. Josh Allen's 6'4". You can't hide that motherfucker, bro. It's harder for him to probably get the ball over the line if you are actually applying pressure. And that is the thing. Kansas City, stop Josh Allen. Because you couldn't technically see what a ball was. Just because your helmet is over the first down marker don't mean you fucked the ball was. And that's the thing. And if you want to sit there and say, well, Brandon, That was a first down. May I remind y'all to go back to the first 2-point conversion Buffalo tried to go for in the game? And there was a tush push, and it was at the 1 yard line, and Kansas City stopped that fucking tush push. Same thing with this one. When you have Kansas City people telling you in meetings, you have Tony Romo and them telling them, "Oh yeah, Kansas City tells us that they like to do the tush push, but they always go to the left side." Hmm? Yeah, they like to do the tush push, but they always go to the left side. So they know your game plan. They know your game, bro. That is wild that they knew what the fuck you like to do, and yet, and yet, people want to blame this on the refs. No, Buffalo is the Chiefs, is the Chargers of this. The Buffalo Bills are the Chargers, a team that's going to win 13, 14, 15 games maybe every year, in the conversation to be the 1 or 2 seed every year in the AFC, and they go up against Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and the Patriots, Kansas City Chiefs, and they're going to lose. They're going to lose. Yeah, they might beat Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens, Peyton Manning, Colts. Yeah, you might catch one of them. You might could beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, Big Ben, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, you might be able to beat them. But when you play elite teams with elite talent, you're not gonna win. This was the last true time the Buffalo Bills could even somewhat compete with this. I don't like I've been said, like I have said numerous times. I do not give a single fuck that you beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. Yeah, the Chargers beating the Patriots in the regular season. Yeah, the Chargers also beat the Colts and the Pittsburgh Steelers also in the regular season. And then they got in the playoffs and they got their ass whooped. What happens? And it's starting to get to the point now where I'm starting to get to this point with Sean McDermott where it's like, bro, maybe you should get fired. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not. I know people don't like being called out for jabs, but the same shit y'all had, the heat for Mike Tomlin, and the heat y'all got for Mike McCarthy. There's a person in Buffalo that's doing the same shit, win all these games, get in the playoffs, but can't get to the Super Bowl. And he actually got a quarterback that y'all think is elite, and he can't get to a fucking Super Bowl. What's going on? And again, like I always say, it's not. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I do not care what you were bought. What you were bought in to do was to help that defense and help that defense win games. So in closing moments like that was Saturday, Sunday, well, you had not one but two chances to get the fuck off the field and give the ball back to your offense. On a 3rd and 8, Patrick Mahomes is rolling out and sees Isaiah Pacheco in front of him and just tosses him the ball. He gets the first down. Here's the crazy part: Isaiah Pacheco actually fucking fell out of bounds, went out of bounds. So you had another chance. You stop him again. 3rd and 9. It's a 3rd and fucking 9, bro. 3rd and fucking 9. You play man to man. Man to man coverage on a 3rd and 9. And all they did was just a bunch of fucking slants. Now, I will say this: Travis Kelce was holding before Samaje Perine even got out to the flat. Travis Kelce was already holding his defender. So he knew, yeah, they're not going to get this. They're not going to call this. I'm good. If you actually go watch the play, Travis Kelce was holding the defender before the ball even got out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. But again, you're not going to call it. And you know that. At some point, y'all got to know you walking into Kansas City, these referees going to swallow the fucking whistle. You know that. Especially on plays like that. the Buffalo Bills are the San Diego Chargers of the mid 2000s. They're gonna win a lot of games. They're gonna get in the playoffs. A lot of people are gonna be like, "Is it their year?" It's never gonna be their year. It's never going to be their year. Josh Allen is now Phillip Rivers, and I said this shit to my brother Juan right after that Cincinnati game, and I'm just amazed at how 3 years later that is a formality. This is the Buffalo. That is the fucking Buffalo Bills. They are the San Diego Chargers of the mid 2000s. Do y'all remember the 2006? Uh, no, 2000 and yeah, 2006. No, 2000. Yeah, 2006. Um, no, 2005 Chargers, 2006 Chargers. Yeah, it was 2006 Chargers. Y'all remember the 2006 Chargers? You had LaDainian Tomlinson, who broke the rushing touchdown record that year. That you scored what 28, 29, 30 touchdowns, some shit, some crazy number for rushing touchdowns. Won the MVP. You had the Defensive Player of the Year in and they played the Patriots. They were the number one seed, 14-2, had the number one ranked defense, and they played the New England Patriots in the divisional round and lost to the Patriots. And LaDainian Thompson, they went to the logo at the 50-yard line and started doing the lights out dance. LaDainian Thompson lost his fucking mind. He's like, "That's disrespectful. That was disrespectful." Win the fucking game, and it won't be disrespectful. Of course, later on that week, again, of course, the Patriots went against the Indianapolis Colts the next week, had that massive lead, and then lost it to the Colts, and the Colts ended up in the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl that year. But it's shit like that. It's shit like that. We pretend like it's that's the fucking Buffalo Bills. I just gave y'all the whole Buffalo Bills outline for the next 4 to 5 years. They're never going to win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry to tell y'all that. Bills Mafia, I'm sorry to tell y'all that. Y'all might not even make it to a Super Bowl. I would be fucking surprised. You barely beat the Ravens this past year. You barely got past the Ravens. You are lucky, and I mean absolutely fucking lucky, that the Cincinnati Bengals could not get in the playoffs. Because you would have lost to Cincinnati before they even got. You would have lost to Cincinnati. You wouldn't even got to the division. You wouldn't even got to the AFC Championship game. You lost to Cincinnati. I put money on that. I put fucking money on that. You would have lost to Cincinnati. Cincinnati would have got in the playoffs. You would have lost. You would have lost in the wild card round. You wouldn't even made it to that far. You wouldn't even made it that far. Joe, and now I hear people trying to blame Joe Brady for this play calling shit, which is true, 100%. But at the same time, you got to know your quarterback, and you know Josh Allen was nervous the whole fucking game. You cannot tell me watching that dude play that he wasn't nervous, and he had a chance to win. And this is why I have always said he's Phillip Rivers. Nothing wrong with being Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was a great quarterback, but compared to the 4 or 5 player teams that he was always in the conversation with every year, he could never get over that hump. He could never get over it. And that's just the way it's going to be. Josh Allen is Phillip Rivers. He is. God forbid if the Texans figure it out with the offensive line they could figure out their offensive line. Sorry, Josh, you just got bumped down another fucking notch because now CJ Stroud has taken your place. He's now Joe Flacco. He's the new Joe Flacco to this situation. Nobody wants to say this. So I say it for you. Sean McDermott is a team builder. He's not a team winner. That team will never win with him. That defense of the Buffalo Bills in big moments don't show up. And yet you were hired for that reason because you understood defense. I know people are going to say, well, brother, he's the head coach. But his main calling card is defense. And every time you get into these positions, your defense lets you the fuck down. What the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing? He didn't call the plays. I don't give a fuck. The Chargers and the Buffalo Bills are the same fucking team. Mid the mid 2000 Chargers and the Buffalo fucking Bills are the same fucking team. When are we gonna finally address this? When are we gonna finally say this? The San Diego Chargers of the mid 2000s and the Buffalo Bills have so much in common. It is so fucking wild to me. And like I said, please don't let the Texans get an offensive line right, and that secondary gets good, and that secondary gets healthy, because this should be over. Josh Allen will fall another peg down in the rankings. And yeah, I know he needs more talent. Whose fault is that? Y'all sat there and told me that it's all Stephon Diggs' fault. You can't have it both fucking ways. You can't sit there and tell me how it was all Stephon Diggs' fault that the Buffalo Bills could never win because he's a diva, and now you're sitting there and saying, well, he don't have no weapons. How could he go to a Super Bowl? That's funny because his best weapon, the best thing the offense could have done for the Buffalo Bills, is take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands and give it to James Cook, which ironically enough did not touch the ball at all in the last 2 to 3 drives, 6 drives actually. James Cook had a great game and didn't touch the ball the rest of the fucking game once he scored that touchdown in the third quarter. Because y'all wanted to make Josh Allen, and like I've been saying, what was going to doom the Buffalo Bills. You're going to try to make Josh Allen greater than what he is. He's not the fucking guy. Stop forcing him to be that dude. He's not. Now you're blaming Dalton Kincaid for not catching the ball. First of all, that play was more on Dalton Kincaid than it was on Josh Allen. Josh Allen had pressure in his face, and he just threw that bitch. Now people are gonna sit there and say, "Oh, off his back foot, 40 yards. How could you not catch that?" Because the ball was unfucking catchable. Did you ever think of that? And by the way, the ball was behind Dalton Kincaid. It was behind him. If you actually look at the fucking clip, the fucking ball was behind him. Even if he, what the, how do you catch a ball like this? I mean, Xavier Worthy probably could catch a ball like that since he did the first time. I mean, he did like this and still kind of fell down on his arm. But not a lot of the fact that this man's body is going this way and he had to turn and try to jump and get it is most ridiculous shit on the planet. And yet I hear people trying to blame him for why the Buffalo Bills didn't win that game. Bull fucking shit. How about the fact that the first 2 plays of that drive, you picked up a first down on a 2nd and 11. Great. Whoop de fucking do. Because Josh Allen had to run the ball. And then you tried to throw the ball the next 3 to 4 times on that drive. You realize, and then here's how fucked up this is. The first play you do on the drive, he airmails it. He doesn't get it to no one. It's literally nobody's in the vicinity of the ball. Nobody blames him for that. Nobody. I haven't heard one person say the first fucking play of that when he got the first down. The first play of that first down. After that first down, he just threw the ball. Nobody was even in the vicinity of the ball. He just threw it. Wasn't like nobody was in his face. Nothing. He just threw the ball, and there was nowhere in the nobody was in the vicinity. But I don't hear people talking about that. How about the second play when he threw the ball and it got batted at the line? He just threw it straight to the damn defender. Just threw it to him and it got batted at the line. This is a stupid Joe Brady play because this is very stupid. You should have just probably called this on the first or second down. Then he throws a little slant, a little screen pass to Amari Cooper. Now Amari Cooper breaks that tackle. He probably gets the first down, and we're having a different conversation. Or maybe we're having the same conversation, just different results. But he gets 5 yards out of that. By the way, people don't also say this. Y'all do know that was a 2 minute warning, right? Before they did that 4 down, that was a 2 minute warning. So they went to the bench. They went to the bench, got on the bench, at the bench, the 2 minute warning. They went to the bench and came up with that play. Whatever the fuck that play was. I don't know what the fuck that play was. You had 5 people on the field, all receivers. Again, no James Cook. And yet you decided to still throw the ball. And then on top of that, Steve Spagnuolo blitzes doing these crucial downs. You had 4 people on one side, so you knew they were not gonna blitz on the left side, on the right side, and yet you still allowed the blitz on the left side, on the left side. And we're sitting up here trying to talk about how Dalton Kincaid couldn't catch the ball. Huh? We still sit up here trying to talk about how Dalton Kincaid could not catch the fucking ball. How about the fact that drive just was a fucking terrible fucking drive? And it showed you that as much as y'all talk about Buffalo is the Chargers. In big moments, they fold. They fucking fold, bro. And it's okay to admit that. They're not the fucking team. They never will be. Last week, I saw Baltimore. 2 weeks ago in that game, I saw Baltimore walk into Buffalo down 21-10. And for a week and a half, I had to hear people tell me how it was all Lamar Jackson's fault that the Baltimore Ravens didn't win that game. Oh, it's playoff Lamar. It's playoff Lamar. It's playoff Lamar. I need people to understand something. Just because Josh Allen didn't throw a touch, didn't turn over the football, don't mean he had a great performance, nigga. Lamar had 3 turnovers and still had a chance to win the game at the end of it. Josh Allen got on the field with the game in his hands, down 3, could take the clock down as much as you want to, and you folded. You didn't show up. That is not on anybody but you. You want to be great. You want people to tell you that you're this great player, and you want to be in a conversation with Patrick Mahomes and all this other shit. And here's the thing, man. Like I said, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson are better than Josh Allen. If you put Joe Burrow in that situation, Cincinnati is scoring. And here's the crazy part: Kansas City knows Cincinnati is scoring. Cincinnati is scoring. Baltimore is scoring. Buffalo got 1 first down and they got off the fucking field. But keep telling me Josh Allen is Patrick Mahomes' comp. Keep on. Keep saying that shit. Keep saying that stupid ass silly shit. Josh Allen is not Patrick Mahomes' comp. He will never be Patrick Mahomes' comp. He's Phillip fucking Rivers. He's the 4th best quarterback in the AFC right now. And Lord knows, if the Houston Texans could figure out their offensive line, CJ Stroud would jump his ass immediately. Matter of fact, I got CJ Stroud in front of him already, to be honest with you. Because I've seen enough of Josh Allen to know in the big moments, you fold. Again, y'all keep living off of this one fucking game where he didn't fold and he didn't get the ball back in overtime. I don't give a fuck. I've seen enough of you in the playoffs now to know when it is time for you to show the fuck up, you don't do it. The Cincinnati game, right after that game, once you got the 2022 playoffs and you play Cincinnati and you fucking folded in that game, you didn't even show up in that fucking game. We didn't say shit about that. We let it fucking slide. 2023, last year against the Kansas City Chiefs, at home, what y'all been screaming you wanted. You wanted Kansas City at home. You finally got Kansas City, and you fucking lost. I don't want to hear this shit no more. It is over. It is done. He is Phillip fucking Rivers. Nobody can tell me otherwise. I don't give a fuck what he do the rest of his career. He will never be Joe. He will never be Joe Burrow. He will never be Lamar Jackson. He will never be Patrick fucking Mahomes. That is the end of this conversation. I am done with this shit. He can win all the fucking games he wants, but I know when you get in the playoffs against elite quarterbacks and elite talent, your ass is not gonna be the most elite fucking player on the field. Fuck out of here. And let's forget, and let's not act like last week when he played Baltimore like he was the best quarterback. No, the fuck he wasn't. He barely did anything in that game. It was all James Cook. At the end of the day, like I've been said, Buffalo is not fucking good. Yeah, just because you win 14 fucking games don't mean you're gonna ever win a Super Bowl, motherfucker. Who the fuck told y'all that? I am done with the Buffalo Bills. Next year, they probably win the AFCs. I wouldn't be surprised. Miami has no real defense. Tua gets hurt every fucking year, and when he get hurt, their offense becomes literally a shell of itself. I love the Patriots, and I think the Patriots next year is actually gonna be really fucking good. I actually think the Patriots can actually win the AFCs. The Jets, I have no faith in them. I don't give a fuck. I have no faith in the Jets at all. Especially if they bring back Aaron Rodgers. I have no faith in the Jets. But the Buffalo Bills probably gonna win the AFC East next year too. But like me and my brother Juan always say, we either a year too early or a year too late. I had the Buffalo Bills like everybody, like falling off a cliff this year. But I think everybody was hating on them and everybody believed that that was gonna happen. So next year everybody's gonna be like, nah, Buffalo's gonna be great because they now got another year under their belt. Joe Brady's there for another year. It's going they're gonna fall off a cliff next year. I can tell you this shit now. They'll fall off a cliff next year. Now I don't know if they fall off a cliff to the point where they can't win the AFC East division. No, I don't know about that. But if the Patriots actually show up like they did late in this season, and Drake May continues to grow as the player he is, and they get him some weapons, and they build it off his line right, that defense is already significantly great. Mike Vrabel is a hell of a head coach, and Mike Vrabel is a better head coach than Sean McDermott already. Mike Vrabel is a better head coach than Sean McDermott. So I know the Patriots could win the division next year, which means Buffalo, you in some shit next year. This is the last. This was truly the last time Buffalo had a chance to make it to a Super Bowl. This is it. I said last year. It's funny because I was watching a clip of mine, and I was kind of talking about how the windows of teams are starting to close. And I said the Buffalo Bills window. I said it's not completely locked. I said San Francisco shit was completely closed. It was over. It was done. It was finished. I'm there with Buffalo this year. I'm there with Buffalo this year. Mike Vrabel's a better head coach than Sean McDermott. Drake may just need some weapons in an offensive line. That defense of the Patriots is way better than the Buffalo Bills defense right now. I'm there now. I'm done. The window's closed. It's over. Buffalo is finished. Fire Sean McDermott. Keep Josh Allen. Figure it out. I because I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. Nothing that you've done these last 2 3 years is going to fix this shit. It's over. It's over. You're done. You you're now going to be the sixth, seventh best team in maybe the AFC. I think the Patriots are going to be better than you. I think that if the if the Broncos could get Bo Nix some weapons and fix that defense a little bit more, get Patrick Surtain extra, some more help on that back end, Denver Broncos will be better than you. Sean Payton's a better head coach than Sean McDermott. Sean, it's not just on Josh Allen. It's Sean McDermott too. Sean McDermott's done. He cannot win you a game when you need him to as a head coach. This is not just on Josh Allen. It's on all of you. The more y'all been in this situation, the more I'm starting to realize y'all just the Chargers, bro. Y'all the fucking Chargers of the mid 2000s, bro. Nothing has changed. There's still a pecking order in the quarterback conversation when it comes to the AFC. Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady. Lamar Jackson is Peyton Manning. Joe Burrow is Big Ben. And CJ Stroud's gonna be Joe Flacco. Where the fuck does Phillip Rivers fall? I mean Josh Allen. God forbid if Drake May gets going. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh shit. And the Patriots could be the Jets of the mid 2000s. Mark Sanchez, defense, running ball, kind of. They could be the Jets. They could be the Jets. Where the fuck does the Chargers fall? Where does the Chargers fall, ladies and gentlemen? I need to know. Where does the Chargers fall? Bills, right? Where does they fall? What is the the Buffalo Bills, aka San Diego Chargers of the 2020s, fall because I just listed teams that they're not better than, and quarterbacks that Sean McDermott, out of all those head coaches, he's not better than Mike Vrabel. Excuse me, he's not better than Mike Vrabel. He's not better than John Harbaugh. He's not better than Andy Reid. He's not better than Andy Reid. He's not better than Sean Payton. Him and Zach Taylor about one and what? That's it. That's the only one. But I don't think Josh Allen is better than Joe Burrow. No receiver on Buffalo is better than Jamar Chase. What do you fall? When you play elite, you fold, especially when it's high pressure because you saw Josh Allen's face. I saw a video today where somebody asked him if he was okay, and he like, yeah, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm okay. No, you wasn't. The pressure came and you folded like a tent. You gave the fuck up. You folded like a lawn chair. You gave up. You didn't have it. You never did it. Are we finally ready to have this conversation and call this motherfucker Phillip Rivers? Because I am done. Y'all can continue to say Buffalo next year is gonna be great and Buffalo's got a chance and all that shit. This was Buffalo's last year to really establish that they're the best team in the AFC and they're just on par with them. Because here's something that people don't want to say: Lamar Jackson's coming. Lamar Jackson is fucking coming. This is not a joke. This is not a fucking game. Lamar Jackson is motherfucking coming. 3-5 in the playoffs, and he actually had his best playoff run this year. Yeah, the first half in the Buffalo Bills game, it is what it is. But that second half, that's Lamar Jackson. That game he played against Pittsburgh, that's Lamar Jackson. Now, equate that to a defense that's going to be better next year because they're going to have more weapons, more time to grow with each other, and more of a situation. And then let's say the Baltimore Ravens actually draft or go get a receiver. I think they need to go get a receiver. I think they need to I think they need to trade and go get Tyreek Hill. They need to go do it. Fuck it, go get Tyreek Hill. You've done enough to see. Okay, we need another receiver, and we need a receiver actually in his prime, or someone in his prime that can help Lamar. Go get T Higgins. Go get a receiver. Go get a fucking receiver, bro. Go get a fucking receiver, bro. Go get one. Go get one. You saw what happened with Jaden Daniels just had Scary Terry. They got to the NFC Championship game. Imagine Tariq Hill and Zay Flowers next year with Isaiah Likely and Derrick Henry with that offensive line. Go get Tariq Hill, man. Go get Tariq Hill. Cincinnati, if they're healthy, if Cincinnati is healthy, they have shown y'all enough to know if Cincinnati is healthy, Cincinnati is a dangerous fucking team. When Cincinnati is healthy, they're a dangerous fucking team. I don't know what Al Golden is gonna do as the Cincinnati Bengals defensive coordinator. I hope he can actually put some light to that defense. But if they're upright, everybody's upright, Cincinnati's gonna go to the playoffs. If everybody's healthy, everybody's upright, Cincinnati's going to the playoffs. What does Joe Burrow? And like I said, Houston fixed their offensive line. You get that secondary right. What the fuck does the Buffalo Bills fit in this puzzle? This was it. This was their last chance to get to a Super Bowl because the next 2 to 3 years, you ain't getting there. Kansas City is still gonna be Kansas City. Baltimore is gonna be better. Cincinnati, if they're healthy, is already better. And Houston has to fix that offensive line and help that secondary. And after that, how the fuck do you fix that? Y'all have gone backwards. Defensively, you're not great. Offensively, you don't have weapons. You barely have an offensive line like that. James Cook is the best offensive weapon you have, and the offense should run through him. But instead, Y'all want to prove that Josh Allen is the guy and he's the man, and he is not. He's not. He's not. But because you don't want to admit that to yourself, y'all gonna keep giving him the ball in late game situations, and this is what's gonna happen to you every fucking time. It happens. Washington, Washington Commanders. Listen, Jay Daniels, uh, playing his first, probably not, definitely not his last NFC Championship game, uh, against the Philadelphia Eagles this past weekend. He lost clearly. Four turnovers for the Washington, 4 or 5 turnovers for Washington in that game. Uh, Philly capitalized on 3 of them for 21 points. Um, what I think of this team? I think Jay Daniels did his job, man. Yeah, he threw a pick late in that game, trying to force the ball up. Try to force the ball up. Quinion Mitchell just made one hell of a catch. That was one hell of a catch from Quinion Mitchell. But game in there, I get that, but at the same time, y'all knew Saquon Barkley was going to be the guy. He was going to get this ball. He was going to get fed this ball most of the game. You knew that, and you did nothing to stop that. And yes, you loaded the box, and it still didn't work. Jalen Hurts beat the Washington Commanders where it hurt. How do I feel about this team, Washington, going forward? I think Jane Daniels, he needs another weapon, and that's he needs another weapon. He's another one like Lamar Jackson that needs another weapon. He needs another weapon. Maybe if this happens the way it happens, I'm looking at the Jets. I'm looking at the Jets. I'm looking at Garrett Wilson, and I'm like, do you really believe the fucking Jets are gonna fix this shit with Aaron Glenn, or do you want the fuck out? Because I can easily help you get the fuck out. Now, yeah, Washington might have to trade some shit, but hey, man, if you willing to trade some shit, go get Garrett Wilson. Go get Garrett Wilson. Fuck it. Why not? Sometimes you gotta bite the bullet. Call Chicago. Try to see what really is up with DJ Moore. Go get DJ Moore. Call Pittsburgh. What the hell is really going on with George Pickens? Get George Pickens. You need another weapon in Washington. That is not a joke. Those turnovers also was very late and very fucking was very bad and costly. The kickoff return that got fumbled, you're just sitting there like, oh my god. You had a fumble, the receiver trying to go out of bounds, got the ball punched out, you try to go get extra yardage, got the ball punched out. It's just like, oh my god. Austin Eckler catches the ball. How the hell you don't remember? You got to put both hands on the ball. You've been in the league for too long to have that type of shit happen to you in a playoff game and you fumble the ball. Come on, bro. I still think Washington's a better team, and next year they're gonna probably be in the playoffs, and they're probably gonna be challenging the Eagles again for the division because I don't trust the goddamn Cowboys for shit. Now, before I get to the Super Bowl, I'll talk about this: Dallas, Jets, Jaguars, Bears have all found their new head coaches. The only and Raiders. The only team that's not found their new head coach is my Saints. Yeah. Chicago, Ben Johnson. I talked about this. I talked about that last week. I told you how I felt about that. Ben Johnson. I felt like Ben Johnson. I don't really think he can turn the team around. That's just me personally. I just don't see it. But great pickup for a defensive coordinator. Dennis Allen is a better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach. So at least you know that. So at least the Bears defense next year is going to be pretty fucking good. And then I look at Aaron Glenn with the Jets. Like I said, I don't know really what's gonna happen with that decision. I don't know. He's already telling us, "Oh, we're gonna keep Aaron Rodgers." Sure, sure you are. Sure you are. That sounds like a stupid fucking decision. I personally wouldn't do it, but again, it's not my fucking team. But other teams have been announced. Now the Jags got Liam Cohen to be their new head coach, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator. That shit was weird how that shit all played out. Listen, man, do I think he's gonna fix what was up with the Jags? Fuck no. No. The Jags have way more internal problems than what the fuck a head coach can do. You picked a guy like Trevor Lawrence that probably just never was gonna live up to what y'all kept screaming he was. He was never gonna live up to it. He never could. He was not that guy in college. I don't know what the fuck people were watching. He was not that guy in college. But again, we let you believe that shit, call this man generational and all that other bullshit. But it is what it is. You made a bed and I sit in it. The Raiders might have had the second best hiring of the whole of this whole thing. I think better than Ben Johnson. The Raiders had the best hiring, the second best hiring. Mike Vrabel was the first, Ben and Pete Carroll's the second. I think the Raiders had the second best hiring out of everyone. Because Pete Carroll is a player's coach. And it's one thing about the Raiders that you've learned over the last couple of years. Excuse me. Those players will ride for the head coach if the head coach rides for them. And that's exactly what it is. And now you put a guy like Pete Carroll, who is so beloved by every player that he has. Now you put him in a situation with the Raiders, who is somewhat owned by Tom Brady. But the respect that a lot of players have for that man is unreal. And I can easily see so many teams, so many players maybe choosing to go play for Pete Carroll next fucking year. I can easily see a lot of players saying, "Fuck it, I would go play for Pete Carroll with the Raiders." Depending on how this draft plays out, you might find your quarterback in this draft, or you might not. But build your team. Pete Carroll is not a bad team builder. I think a lot of people get that misconstrued. Like, the man's not a bad team builder. The man drafted the Legion of Boom. He can build a fucking team, ladies and gentlemen. Seattle is still a pretty good team because he built that team. The Raiders are gonna be a pretty good fucking team. Next fucking year, look out, bro. I'm telling people now, look the fuck out. It might take a minute because you gotta get a quarterback, but if they can find a quarterback, look the fuck out. Dallas, I knew it was gonna be in staff, in the house, in house. I knew it was gonna be in house. I thought it would be Mike Zimmer, but it was Brian Schottenheimer. It is what it is. I have no high hopes for the Dallas Cowboys at all. I am not surprised that the Cowboys made a move like that and did that because at the end of the day, it's the fucking Cowboys. What did you expect? Like, Jerry Jones getting on the podium and trying to explain and it's like, man, you know, it's not about me being in my comfort zone. Sure it is. Sure it isn't. Sure it isn't. Sure. Sure. This is it's a terrible fucking thing, man. Cowboys are never going to fix this shit because Jerry Jones won't get the fuck out the way. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters for the Cowboys. They're never gonna fix it because they're never gonna have a guy. Jerry Jones is never gonna get the fuck out the way, and that's just the way it's gonna be. Now, my Saints have the worst job, and I already told y'all the Saints are gonna have the worst job. I when I did my all these old coach shit opening positions, the Saints is the only team that has not filled a fucking head coaching job. And we got the college Shrine Bowl and all this other shit coming up, and the Saints still have not found a head coach. I truly believe it's the GM. Mickey Loomis can't get the fuck out the way. Same thing with the Cowboys. Can't get the fuck out the way. I don't know who we bringing in. Who are we bringing in? We didn't want him. We didn't want him. We didn't want him. He didn't want to be with us. That shit gonna last 2 years. I'm telling y'all shit. I'm telling y'all this shit now. This shit gonna last 2 years. It's not gonna last long. A year and a half. I give it a year tops. Cause the players gonna turn on him. Players gonna turn on him. Just like they did Dennis Allen. They gonna turn on him. Super Bowl. I already talked about it. Chiefs, Eagles are in the Super Bowl. And I'll talk about this a little bit more next week. How I feel about this Super Bowl. I don't care. I don't care. Now I would say something. Now I got a week to change my mind on this, but I think the Eagles blow the fucking Chiefs out the building. I think the Eagles will blow the Chiefs out the building. The Eagles have the defense that can stop them. Now I agree. Now here's the thing. A couple years ago, when they played 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs had the Kansas City Chiefs had uh the Eagles had the number one sack defense the entire year. They barely touched Patrick Mahomes once. Here's the problem with that. They didn't have an interior like they do now. It was all about the edges. The edges was what it was. Hassan Riddick, Josh Sweat. The edges is what got the Eagles a lot of those sacks. Brandon Graham. The edges was what got the Eagles a lot of those sacks. Fletcher Cox was still. This Eagles team is younger. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Bryce Huff, Brandon Graham is being reported that he could play in this game. And this secondary of the Eagles is better than the Eagles team a couple years ago when they went to the playoff to the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs team. I think the Eagles blow the fucking Kansas City Chiefs out. I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I think the Eagles, now Eagles definitely got some fucking injuries on the offensive line that I am very terrified for. Got banged up a lot in the NFC Championship game, but I would not be surprised if the Eagles walk in and blow the fucking Kansas City Chiefs out of the water. I am not like everybody else. I think the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Kansas City Chiefs blow. I think the Kansas City Chiefs get their ass blown out. This feels like Super Bowl 48. Yeah, Patriots. I mean, not Patriots. Broncos, Seattle. It feels like that. It feels like that. It feels like the Eagles defensively is just so much better than the Kansas City Chiefs offensively. And it feels like the Eagles offensively are going to catch the is going to catch the Kansas City Chiefs where the Kansas City Chiefs cannot be afforded to be caught. Jalen Hurts, the first time these two teams played in the Super Bowl, outplayed Patrick Mahomes. What I saw Sunday from Jalen Hurts is the guy that I need to see in the Super Bowl. And if he has that type of performance with a better run game from with a better running game because of Saquon Barkley, because Kansas City is going to do everything in their power to try to stop Saquon Barkley. You can bet your ass on that. Which means it's going to be a lot of man-to-man coverage. AJ Brown's going to burn the fuck out of Trent McDuffie. Devontae Smith's going to have his way with Justin Watson. This is going to be a bad game for Kansas City. I think Kansas City get blown out. Like I said, I got a week to change my mind on this. I got a week to change my mind on this. Might be closer next week than I think, especially with the injury reports coming out and all of the what's going on. But if you ask me right now how I feel, Philly blows Kansas City the fuck out, and then everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck happened?" I think Philly's just a better team. Kansas City, like I said, for the first time this whole year, they scored 30 points in a regular game in a regular regulated game. They scored 30 points only one time this whole season, and that was against Tampa Bay in overtime. They finally scored 30 points in an actual game that wasn't overtime. It was against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo has no defense compared to the Eagles. I got the Eagles. I got the Eagles in a blowout. I'll be honest. I got the Eagles in a fucking blowout. Like I said, next week I got a chance to change my mind. Injury reports come out. You know who's playing and know who's not. I'll break the whole game down next week. But yeah, that's how I feel. Jimmy Butler. I talked about this last week, a couple weeks ago, when it started coming up. Jimmy Butler. Um, Jimmy Butler got suspended again. he got, got suspended again. This is the third time this man has been suspended by the Miami Heat in just this year. Reportedly, he went to shoot around yesterday, practice yesterday, and somebody told him, "Hey man, listen, you're not gonna be in the starting rotation no more." And he said, "Yeah, fuck this," and he left. And they suspended him. They suspended him. Here's my feelings on this. Here's my feelings on this. I think this makes both situations look terrible. Pat Riley in Miami, they both look bad. Pat Riley in Miami, they look terrible. And I know people don't want to, they're going to sit there and say, no, they don't. Yeah, they do. Pat Riley could have fixed this shit years ago. He could have built a team around Jimmy Butler and decided not to because he showed favoritism. He kept Tyler Hero when he could have traded him and got Dame Lillard. People forget this shit. Right after the bubble, Dame Lillard was actually up for a conversation to possibly get traded from the Portland Trailblazers. This was around the time when Portland, everybody was like, damn, Dame might need to get the fuck out of Portland because they're never going to win with him. And they started up this buzz, and then even last year when he finally did get traded, Miami chose not to go get him because Pat Riley did not want to trade Tyler Hero. And I'm sorry to say this. Why the fuck would you not trade that dude? Like, what are we doing? Why would you not trade him? You could go get another Tyler Hero from the free agency market. You could have drafted a Tyler Hero. Dr. Connect from Tennessee. You could have bought him in. You could have drafted him. What the fuck are you doing? Scottie Pippen's son is pretty good. You could have got anybody to be a Tyler Hero. Buddy Hield. Even though he's not having a great season, Buddy Hield. Anybody can be Tyler Hero for Miami. But instead of you building a team around Jimmy Butler, you refuse to do that. A lot of this also on Pat Riley in Miami because they chose to not build a team around this man. And now y'all want to complain and sit there and say, well, he signed a contract. It's like, bro, you show me point blank period. And then on top of that, right after the season was over, guess what you did? You went on the podium and said, we're not extending his contract. So you pretty much just told me, fuck you. To my face. Fuck you. And now I gotta hear people try to sit there and try to tell me. People try to sit there and tell me that it's all on Jimmy Butler. No, it's not. Miami fucked up. They fucked up and they cannot fix this. This is unfixable. It is. And then you decide to sit a man who is literally got what, one or two, maybe three more prime years left of his career. And Jimmy Butler, he's 35. Got one or two more prime years of his career left. And yet you think this is cool? This looks so fucking terrible on Pat Riley and the Miami Heat. It looks bad on Miami because what the fuck do you think these players are looking around, looking at this situation, saying, "Damn." And you know the NBA is a players-driven league. What do you think these players are really sitting here and saying? Watching this shit play out. What do you think they're saying? I don't want to be a part of that. That's how you treat a player, your star. I don't want to be a part. A man that took you to two NBA finals, four Eastern Conference finals. The fuck? And Jimmy Butler, this don't look good on you either, bro. You can't throw temper tantrums because they keep telling you, bro, no. Now, if this is the truth that you have a no trade clause in your contract, you might need to loosen the reins on that trade clause. I know you put a team, you put out who you wanted to go to, the Warriors, and the Suns, and the Rockets, and the Mavs, because you want to run the ring. I already told y'all what I would do if I was Jimmy Butler. I would go to the Rockets, and I wouldn't even think twice about it. I'd go to the fucking Rockets. Wouldn't even think twice about it. The problem with this is Jimmy Butler is probably stuck in his ways just as much as the Miami Heat are. If I was Jimmy Butler, I would waive my trade clause and say, all right, trade me to Milwaukee. Trade me to the Eastern Conference team. Trade me to Cleveland. Trade me to Indy. Trade me to a team in the Eastern Conference because it's easier to get to the NBA Finals in the East than it is in the fucking West, and he knows that. And you could easily go there and automatically be the guy. This back and forth shit, y'all gotta stop this. This is ridiculous. Jimmy Butler's in the wrong, and Miami Heat are in the wrong. Both of them motherfuckers are in the wrong. You told this man to his face that you didn't want him anymore, pretty much. And Jimmy Butler is just as fucked up because, bro, you cannot continuously throw temper tantrums. You 35 years old, my brother. You know what it is. You know what it is. What you doing? Saturday night. Now, I was watching Saturday Night Main Event for WWE on NBC, so I did not watch this game. I want to also point this out. Stop calling everything a rivalry. It is not. NBA has got this damn thing called Rivalry Week, and then you watch these games, you're like, what the fuck is the rivalry? You got the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. That's a rivalry? How the fuck is that a rivalry? Oh, because they played in the Western Conference playoffs last year against each other in a 7 game series, and the Memphis and Minnesota knocked them out the playoffs. What the fucking do? That's not a rivalry, dude. It's not. It's not a fucking rivalry. Oh, Dallas and Boston. That's a rivalry. Why? Because Kyrie Irving played for Boston and it ended badly. Bro, Kyrie ain't been a part of Boston. Kyrie's been on 2 different teams since he was on Boston, Brooklyn and now Dallas. That's a rivalry. That's a rivalry. Okay. The only one you can even sit there and give me was the Warriors and the Lakers, and I'm like, even that is not even a rivalry. That's not a rivalry. When it matters most, Steph Curry's beating LeBron's ass. What are we talking about here? It's not even a rivalry. The fuck are we talking about? I'm sick of this shit. Like, NBA, stop putting shit out there. Like, bro, we're gonna watch. Just stop this shit. I'll talk about next week because next week is gonna be the All Star weekend. Get ready for the All Star weekend. I'll talk about that next week, and everything. But yeah, and of course, before I leave out this motherfucker, Fight Week is here. David Benavidez versus David Morrell. Saturday, I will be doing my Royal Rumble rate and review show, and then right after that, I'll be watching the fight. What do I feel about this situation? David Morrell is young. He has a lot of power. He looks like a guy that's just gonna try to push David Benavidez backwards. Um, but at the same time, if David Benavidez is healthy, I think David Benavidez beats him. I think he beats him. So that's the end. There it is. I believe sports. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Talk to you guys next week. Like I said, football Super Bowl week is next week. I'll talk about the game, break down the entire game. I'll talk about the All Star weekend next week. I'll talk about the fight that just happened this upcoming Saturday. I'll talk about the winner and everything that's going on with that. Until next week, man. I am Brandon Janeau. This is I Believe Sports. Peace.